The Packers and Bears, the NFL's oldest rivalry. It started in 1921, and over 200 games later, it still feels personal. These are the league's two oldest franchises, built on tradition and hate. From George Halas and Curly Lambeau to Brett Favre, Brian Urlacher, and Aaron Rodgers yelling, "I own you," this feud spans generations. The Bears dominated early, but Green Bay's long run of elite quarterbacks flipped the script. No matter the record, when these two meet, it's pride, history, and Midwest bragging rights on the line. Ravens versus Steelers isn't about geography. It's about pain. Since the late 90s, these AFC North bullies have built a rivalry on defense, disrespect, and violence. The 2000s turned it into must-see TV. Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Terrell Suggs colliding with Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, and Hines Ward. Every hit felt personal. Every game a war. They've traded playoff heartbreaks and brutal brawls. Smashmouth football, no mercy, and two fan bases that live for the fight. Cowboys versus Eagles isn't just football. It's a culture clash. Dallas calls itself America's team. Philly, gritty, blue-collar, and proud to hate that slogan. Cowboys fans travel well, but in Philadelphia, they're greeted with snowballs, insults, and pure hostility. On the field, it's decades of fireworks. Staubach versus Jaworski, Romo versus McNabb, Dak versus Hurts. They ruin each other's seasons and love every second of it. When both are good, it's chaos you can't miss. Cowboys versus 49ers. This rivalry shaped the NFC. It's not about geography, it's about legacy. In the 70s, Dallas knocked out San Francisco twice. In the 90s, they traded NFC titles like heavyweight champs. Aikman versus Young, Irvin versus Rice, Emmett versus Waters. Every meeting felt like the real Super Bowl. Lately, it's been reborn. Two postseason showdowns, both won by the Niners. The all-time series? 21-19, San Francisco leads. Two dynasties, one crown. Raiders versus Chiefs might be the nastiest feud in football. It started in the old AFL and never cooled down. The 1969 AFL Championship lit a fire that's burned for decades. Al Davis never forgave Kansas City, and fans on both sides still bring that hatred. From bench-clearing fights to bone-crunching hits, it's always been personal. The Chiefs lead big, 75-55, and Mahomes owns the modern era, but the Raiders will never stop swinging. Giants versus Eagles. Pure NFC East chaos. They've been battling since 1933, and the hate's only grown. Philly leads the all-time series 96-89 and has dominated the past decade. Giants fans still remember the miracle at the Meadowlands, when Deshaun Jackson walked off that punt return. Every matchup is a street fight between two cities that can't stand each other. Records don't matter, just bragging rights. The Jets and Patriots, a rivalry built on betrayal. In 2000, Bill Belichick quit the Jets after one day and joined the Patriots. Since then, it's been domination. New England leads 75-56, fueled by Spygate, playoff drama, and years of Jets heartbreak. They finally snapped a 7-year losing streak in 2023, but for most fans, the scars run deep. Every time they meet, it's personal. Patriots versus Colts, the rivalry that defined the 2000s. It was Brady versus Manning, chess matches between Belichick's defense and Peyton's brilliance. Every year felt like the AFC's true Super Bowl. The Patriots usually had the upper hand, but the Colts' 2006 comeback win in the AFC Championship flipped the narrative. Even after both legends retired, echoes of that era remain. When these two meet, it still feels like something bigger than just another game. Packers versus Vikings, the border battle of the North. Green Bay leads 66-60, but Minnesota's closing in. The rivalry hit another level when Brett Favre switched sides in 2009 and beat his old team. Since then, we've seen Dalvin Cook explode for 4 touchdowns and Justin Jefferson torch Green Bay's defense. The Packers still hold the edge, but every game feels like a backyard fight for Midwest supremacy. 49ers versus Seahawks, a rivalry that defined the 2010s and still burns today. It started when Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll brought their college beef to the NFL. Legion of Boom versus the 49ers front seven, Kaepernick versus Wilson, pure fireworks. The 2013 NFC Championship sealed it, with Sherman's iconic tip and post-game rant. Seattle leads the series, but lately, San Francisco's taken control. Every meeting still feels personal. Steelers versus Browns, the AFC's oldest rivalry and one of its most one-sided. Cleveland dominated early, but since the 70s, Pittsburgh's ruled. The Steelers lead 82-64, but don't think the hatred's gone. Myles Garrett swinging a helmet at Mason Rudolph in 2019 proved it's still violent, still bitter. Two blue-collar cities, one ugly, passionate fight that never ends. Browns versus Bengals, the Battle of Ohio. Born when Paul Brown, fired by the Browns, founded Cincinnati as revenge. That origin story fuels every matchup. The Bengals lead the all-time series 54-47, but Cleveland's had surprising success in recent years. Burrow versus Watson, orange versus orange, and bragging rights for an entire state. It's family tension turned into football warfare. Bears versus Vikings doesn't get as much attention, but it's fierce. Minnesota won their first ever game in 1961, against the Bears, and they've been trading blows since. The Vikings lead 68-58 and have taken 6 of the last 8. Cold weather, tough defenses, and old-school football. No flash, no hype. Just NFC North grit. Falcons versus Saints. Pure pettiness, pure passion. They joined the league in the 60s and instantly hated each other. The all-time series is tied 56-56. You can't script it better. Blowouts, chokes, trash talk, and revenge games. Like 2012, when a 3-5 Saints team handed the 8-0 Falcons their first loss. These cities don't like each other, and it shows every time they meet. Cowboys versus Commanders, one of the NFL's pettiest rivalries. It began in 1960, when Dallas's owner tricked Washington's into approving his team by buying their fight song. From there, the bad blood never stopped. In the 70s and 80s, both teams ruled the NFC, trading playoff heartbreaks and Super Bowls. Dallas leads the all-time series 76-49, but the passion's still there every time they clash. Dolphins versus Jets, quiet rivalry, loud emotions. It started in the AFL, but the legends made it iconic. The Monday Night Miracle in 2000. Jets down 30-7, came back to win 40-37. The 2008 Favre versus Pennington revenge game added fuel. They may not share borders, but they share bad blood. Every matchup's unpredictable, and always personal. Lions versus Packers, nearly a century of history. Green Bay's owned this rivalry, but Detroit never stopped fighting. From Thanksgiving classics to Lambeau heartbreak, they've seen it all. The Lions ended a 24-year Lambeau drought in 2015, then eliminated Rodgers' Packers in 2022. The tide's turning, and Detroit's playing like they've got decades of payback stored up. Chargers versus Raiders. Chaos every year. Born in the AFL, fueled by 4 cities' worth of grudges. The 2021 overtime thriller said it all. Both teams could have tied and made the playoffs, but the Raiders kicked the winner just to knock the Chargers out. That's this rivalry. Pride over logic, hate over mercy. For 2 decades, the Patriots embarrassed Buffalo. Brady went 32-3 against them. But when Brady left and Josh Allen arrived, everything changed. The Bills demolished New England in the 2021 wildcard, scoring on every drive in a 47-17 statement win. The Patriots still lead 79-51 overall, but the Bills finally flipped the script. Chiefs versus Bills, the new age AFC rivalry. Every game feels like an instant classic. Allen versus Mahomes, offensive fireworks, and playoff heartbreak. The 2021 divisional round was one of the greatest games ever played. 25 points in the last 2 minutes before Kansas City broke Buffalo's heart in overtime. Both teams are built to win now, and every matchup feels like the fight for AFC supremacy. Broncos versus Chiefs. An AFC West battle that's as physical as it is personal. Denver ruled the 90s with Elway, while Kansas City's owned the 2010s behind Mahomes. The Chiefs' 16-game win streak defined the recent era, but Broncos fans haven't forgotten the glory days of mile-high dominance. From Montana versus Elway to Mahomes versus Wilson, this rivalry's full of pride, pain, and unforgettable finishes. This rivalry's young, but it's already legendary. Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. In 2021, the Bengals beat Kansas City twice and started calling Arrowhead Burrowhead. A year later, Mahomes got revenge on one ankle, sealing the win and shouting, "Burrowhead, my ass." This is the modern Brady versus Manning. Two superstars, one crown, and a rivalry that defines the future of football. If you'd like to watch some of our previous content, click the link on screen.